tuning in to the online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Hello, Arrow fans, and welcome to the season finale of the AFTERBUZZ TV Arrow After Show. We had a glorious time watching it, and that was one heck of a finale, so we are going to talk about it with these wonderful, wonderful people. As you can see, or hear if you're on iTunes, we are missing an Alicona and Alex. They drove off into the sunset for 5 months of vacation over season break, and I'm sure we'll have them back when we start. In the meantime, the wonderful people with me are Tauri Miller.
Hi, I'm Tauri Miller. You can find me on Twitter at TauriJ. It's Taurijay.
Steve Kaufman.
I'm at Steve Kaufman. That's KAUFMANN. You also probably know me from the Gotham podcast.
And the wonderful Alan Kistler joining us again.
Hey, this is Alan Kistler. You can find me on Twitter at SizzlerKistler. That's KISTLER. And I write stuff for the Mary Sue and other places. And I wrote Doctor Who: A History and the unofficial Game of Thrones cookbook.
And as you probably well know at this point, I am Katie Cullen. Hi, all my buddies. You can find me on Twitter at Kiaxet. That's KIAXET. You can also tweet all of us on the ABTV Arrow hashtag if you want to join in the conversation. We will be looking at the hashtag tonight. We are also watching the live chat. So,
yes,
Steve, if they see anything,
Drew.
if they say anything fun and interesting, let us know. Give them a shout out. So, what did we think of this episode? Dead silence.
Yes, that's proper.
We're forming our thoughts.
Well, it's a proper thought. There was a lot to take in on this episode.
There really a lot of loose ends to wrap up, and then a few reasons to throw things at the screen, at least in my opinion.
I mean, even for a superhero show, there are a few things that were really stretching it for us. Like, you know, I inoculated all of you subcutaneously while you didn't know. It's like, really?
There was an episode of Doctor Who where they basically vaccinated a person with all the vaccinations and then had them hug everyone else, and that's how they spread it. And it was really cute. It was really sweet, but no.
Yeah. Yeah, and this doesn't even have the suspension of disbelief that you're hundreds of thousands of millions of years in the future with different kinds of technology and who knows what else going on. This is Arrow. It's like, okay, unless someone has a superpower that lets you do this, like, this is, I don't know.
Guys, it's basic science.
It's basic superhero science.
It's definitely.
You put a vaccine on your hand, and as soon as your skin touches someone else's skin, your sweat activates the vaccine, and then boom, ipso facto, immune.
I'm just waiting for all of the anti-vaxxers listening here to be like, those are really good facts. Like, oh dear God.
Man. I think last week we could have gotten away with, while they were captive, them just being all pricked with a needle for some reason.
Yeah.
Like, this makes you subservient.
While they all lost consciousness, Malcolm, who is inoculated,
wakes up and just
or at some point, or even doing it on the plane on the way over. It's a fail-safe just in case.
Yeah,
you never know what viruses they have at Nanda Parbat. Right. We're in a different country.
Right. Well, likewise in the whole beginning scene, they're on the plane, and then the whole fight happens, which was pretty cool. And then Raish leaves. Oh, he took the one parachute. Like, wait, but Raish packed this plane. His men packed this plane. Did they only bring one parachute when there were a dozen of them there? Like, that's why.
Well, they expected to land the plane.
Everyone expects to land the plane. The emergency parachute is there in case things you don't expect happen.
You still have a seat cushion that can be used as a flotation device.
Yeah, exactly.
But the only person who matters to anyone on that plane is Raish.
But there were two Raishes on that plane.
That's
I'm
true.
sorry.
Well, there was a Raish and there was a Wareem was the title, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Well,
If it doesn't end in E, it's not.
I mean, let's be real. The Nanda Parbat airport seems to be ridiculous on a bunch of things, including regulations over what planes get to take off and how many life. I was about to say life jackets. I was like, that's not
I'm
a
just
thing.
surprised that the plane.
Air life jackets.
Hashtag air life jackets. I'm just surprised that the plane ran on jet fuel and not candles.
You guys and the candles.
Poor Bob. Poor Bob. We're gonna lay that poor guy to rest. He probably died somewhere.
The plane was actually ran on him on a treadmill. Anyways.
Don't join the League of Assassins if your name is Bob.
But
So let's knock the flashbacks out. Because the flashbacks were basically wrapping up loose ends. It's all the stuff that we knew was going to happen with the wonderful twist of surprise torture. Oliver, are we feeling okay?
Yeah, it's that was finally there was something in the flashbacks that made me interested in its arc was the whole Oliver torture thing. It's like, all right, so we're starting to see the man that you were when we first started Arrow. You know, so I thought that was great. But again, it's what I said last time I was here. There are too many damn flashbacks that were in that story arc. They should have either had a few more episodes that didn't have flashbacks or divvied it up with other characters, like they did with the flashback for Felicity, and they had a flashback for Deadshot.
Deadshot was great.
Yeah, that was great. They could have done more of that, so we didn't just spend so much time of Oliver's in Hong Kong. You all know the kid's gonna die, and we're just biding our time until we get there.
Yeah.
Like we all knew.
Right.
You know?
That kid was not walking out of there.
Not to mention, if we're eventually going to reach a point with this series where there won't be flashbacks. He's on the island 5 years. We only have 2 more seasons of flashbacks.
And then he dies.
Wow.
Or we flash back to...
according to the Flash, he lives to be 86.
True. Actually, though, this is another reference though, because in the comics, right after 0 Hour, Oliver Queen did seemingly die on a plane with eco-terrorists who were going to release a bioweapon, and there was basically. He was attached to this machine, and he was trying to get it out there, and the plane did blow up with him on it.
The comics are insane.
Was it in 1986 or was he 86?
No. Old man Oliver Queen.
Confused it?
No, he was like 95, 96,
Okay.
and then his son Connor Hawke took over as Green Arrow for several years.
Nice.
Well, let's talk about the bumpy plane ride. My gosh, what a terrible, terrible time to admit that. Yeah, this was all totally my idea. My name is Oliver Queen. Like
Sometimes I'm called the Hooded Guy. Sometimes I'm called Arrow. You have a few names for me, but mainly it's Oliver Queen. You can call me Ollie, I guess.
Somebody give him a mic to drop. That was actually a really good delivery for that.
He should have had a mic, Arrow.
Just like boom.
That's
Oliver Queen.
That was a great moment. That was a great hero moment. Steve Amell, I thought, did a great job. I mean, he's always doing a great job. The performances, I have no objection to.
Oh yeah, the performances across the board have been really good this season.
Yeah, absolutely.
Some of the writing I've had a massive issue with, but that we call that the Ray Palmer corner. But for the most part, the performances have just been on point.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we.
I agree.
I've also loved Thea's development, and we finally got to see the culmination of that here. Although, how she got Roy's outfit to fit so nicely on her.
Well, we did decide that cosplay and tailoring were skills that they taught you in the League of Assassins.
Yeah.
That's true.
Where do you think Ra's al Ghul got all the Arrow uniforms he was using a few episodes back?
He's just sitting at night.
Well,
The Ra's al Ghul of cosplay.
Yeah.
Yes, he was using the Ra's al Ghul thimble that he has.
I'm pretty sure the League of
thing.
Assassins probably just has an army of seamstresses as well,
Yes.
just locked in a room. I think they're the art department for League of Assassins, who also employs Bobby, who does the candles.
So they're the ones that make all the throw pillows and the draperies.
Yeah,
and
Led by an overworked woman named Penny.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. No.
Think about it.
Because that's so much
Think
weirder
about
than
it,
Bob's
guys.
candle.
Actually, it kind of is.
Penny the seamstress is so much weirder than the Bob the candle burner.
I ship them. I ship Penny and Bob. They're doomed.
They're too awkward to know each other.
That's all right. So we have the plane, and we have Damian Darhk in Starling City for reason. He's just been kind of a name drop, and I will be really surprised if he doesn't show up in some capacity in season 4.
Oh, I think they're definitely setting him up to be the bad in season 4.
Of course.
And there's been theories going around that he's Felicity's dad.
I'm seeing that in the chat quite a bit.
Yeah.
Is it just because he's a hacker?
It's because he's a hacker. It's because he hasn't shown up in the series before. It's because nobody knows who her dad is. They're just kind of taking, a square peg and seeing whether or not it'll fit in the hole.
Right.
Because we don't know what shape the hole is yet.
I mean, plus, you with him, you finally tie up some of the H.I.V.E. loose ends that have been happening in their episodes. Because Damian Darhk is in charge of H.I.V.E. in the comics.
Yeah.
That's true. Although evidently we don't actually get to see him, we just get name drop after name drop.
Right.
And I do love how they segued into this, that they couldn't find Roz and had to find everything else around the city that wasn't quite normal.
Right.
And just the list that Felicity rattled off, like how did you compile that list? What were your search parameters for abnormalities in Starling City?
I mean, three
filtered out
seasons.
Appearances of the Flash.
3 seasons into this, we just have to accept that Felicity's magic.
A little bit.
I mean, really.
But after 3 seasons, we've had enough of it where we're like, maybe.
Yeah, this is part of the show.
Like, there was a moment in the middle of the show where I finally came to the realization that it's like, no, Felicity and Ray Palmer are literally just the best computer people in this world.
Yes.
Yes.
They just happen to be working for this guy.
And the thing is, I love them working together, but I didn't love the ship. And that's just because it started off with the stalker thing.
Yeah,
and
it was way too creepy.
I think we can give our full season thoughts kind of at the end of this episode here.
Yeah.
So I will save that for that. And everyone watching is like, God, Katie, you've talked about that all season. Well, I'm going to talk about it again.
Ooh.
I did like that we had Barry Ex Machina come in and save everyone. And this kind of ties into last night's Flash, which I kind of hope everyone watched because it goes right into this where Oliver randomly shows up and helps Barry take out the Reverse Flash. And it's just kind of like, and you may owe me a favor later. Bye. Like, when did he take a vacation from Nanda Parbat to go to Central City and help? And how did he communicate to Barry that, look, I'll buy it, but I want the specifics?
Right. Well, my theory is that right before he went to get Nyssa and Diggle's wife, on his way to Starling, he stopped, helped Barry, and was like, I have a thing that I need you to do later. And then he did all that, pretended he was brainwashed, and then later sent a Raven.
Sent a Raven.
Yeah. No,
I was with you until the last 3 words.
I'm kind of with that. Like, it's got to be
With the Raven?
No, well, it's got to take place, like, either during those first 3 weeks of training or after he is seemingly broken, but before the events of the previous Arrow episode.
Right.
So, yeah, like on his travel to Starling City, he stops off or something.
Again, I'd buy it with some in-show explanation, but I don't like having to sit there and hammer the puzzle pieces together.
I completely agree. You should have referenced it in some way.
Yeah, just like when Oliver was in the city a few weeks ago, he told me to, or something. Just, I wanted to see how the dominoes fell for this one. Yeah. But it was nice to see Barry, and hilarious to have Felicity out him in front of Merlin.
He just knows that his name is Barry.
Yeah, but
there are numerous people that could be, and you don't know if it's short for like Barton or Bartholomew, like, you know.
That's true, but now that Malcolm is the new Roz, or Raish as he's calling it, because pronunciation is variable around here.
Yeah, that's weird.
What are you gonna do? Tell him he's pronouncing it wrong? It's really not cool.
You're gonna tell the white dude that he's pronouncing Arabic wrong? How dare you?
Yes, because that literally never happens. No, he could send assassins to be like, okay, so there's this guy, and he was wearing this costume, and go find him.
Well, we see how well they fare against the Flash already, so I think that might not be the best idea.
Yeah,
the beginning of the episode.
There's a difference between go find him and go take him down, because Barry does not do subtle.
No.
And I would imagine a good number of League of Assassins people do. Just by virtue of being in the League of Assassins.
They can just follow whoever has taken up Iris's blog in Central City.
Or even just Google search and find the blog and be like, oh, he's here. wow, that was really super easy. Why did they send us halfway across the world to find this guy? Because we don't have internet in Nanda Parbat.
Did we establish that there's no Wi-Fi in Nanda Parbat?
I'm assuming there's no anything.
Well, there's an airport.
Because there's candles. There's not an airport, there's just an
airport,
airfield.
Yeah, an open space.
Just an open space.
We've got in the chat room, like a good neighbor, Barry is there.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's
Who said that? Drop the name, because that's beautiful.
Rodrigo Mendoza.
Well
Thank
played.
you, Rodrigo Mendoza. You are a good person, and people
Well
say
played.
nice things about you. So we have a wonderful emotional conversation with Diggle and Felicity about how Oliver was just planning on going down with the plane.
Yeah.
Hence starting the episode with 5 Iron Frenzy's Kamikaze tonight.
He didn't have to tell anyone that plan.
And I think there was no other way he could have gotten around. Like, how did you expect to survive? By the skin of my teeth. I'm Oliver Queen.
Or just true pragmatism of just doesn't matter right now. You should keep moving forward.
Do you
Well,
really
I
think
thought
that
they would have
Diggle-
more than one parachute.
Well, do you really think that Diggle or Felicity would take "doesn't matter right now" as an answer?
No.
Not from Oliver.
Actually-
not at this point in time.
And at Hovergirl GRL, not GIRL. Explaining this timeline we were just talking about. He went to Central City because he told Roz he was having a bachelor party. That makes
I would watch the hell out of that bachelor party.
I would watch that TV program.
Oh my God.
We got the little 3-minute Fight Club short. Give us the 3-minute his bachelor party. in Central
Katana's
City.
doing DJ. Like,
With the League of Assassins, it's very quiet. There's candles everywhere. Is this a bachelor party or a seance?
A little bit of column A, a little bit of column B.
It's not a party until we summon all of the previous Ra's al Ghul's. There's
kinda
only
what I'm
like
into
4.
now.
They live for a really long time. The seance, oh my god, the seance party coming to a horror movie near you. So we have this lovely and yet not so great emotional conversation with, I didn't actually expect to survive, which is kind of the coward's way out. Just, well, I wasn't planning on dealing with the emotional fallout for any of this, so, sorry.
Good.
no, go for it.
I mean, I disagree. I think
Okay.
Fight!
I'll win.
I think that he saw it. I don't think he was like, I'm explicitly going to try to avoid any emotional conflict. It was more like, I see this as the only way out, in that either he and Roz dies, or he fails to kill Roz and Roz makes his life miserable. So there's, as far as he knows, there's no escaping the League of Assassins unless he's dead, or Roz is dead, or both.
Point.
And along with that, we had dealt with that even if he was planning on betraying them all in the end, Oliver had considered he was damning his soul, or sort of this was all or nothing going in.
Yeah.
So that did make sense to me. Is it, something that they should have been okay with? No. Not at all. Absolutely not. Which is why the confrontation absolutely worked. But it made sense to me that the character would choose to do that.
Yeah.
And I did like what we have with Felicity talking to him just about, no, you're not the Arrow anymore. Roz took that from you, and you're not Oliver Queen. You're a little bit of both, and that's
You're
what you
Green
need to
Arrow.
be. Well, and we've kind of talked about this for the whole season, that Oliver is not good at balancing one with the other, and he needs to have that kind of balance and stability before he can get into any semblance of stable relationship. This seems to be a pretty good step in that direction.
Mm-hmm. Of just abandoning vigilantism altogether.
Well, and being able to walk away from a season without permanently losing a family member.
That's
I
nice,
can't say
yeah.
without losing a family member, because we had that wonderful frog water scene. But without permanently losing someone, that is a change.
Yeah.
That's definitely a change. It's pretty necessary change for him.
Yeah.
Question, though.
Question.
What brings him back next year?
Oh,
Chili.
Damian Darhk showing up, something
Yeah.
else happening, deciding that after the end of 5 months, maybe it's time to come back and see how his sister's doing. Malcolm pulling some form of strings. It could be any of a myriad of choices, and while we have clues, we don't really have a premise.
What I would like to see is to give us some character growth and have Ollie, after 5 months of enjoying sort of a quiet life and being happy and re-exploring who he is beyond a fighter, that when he comes back, we could have sort of this halfway point between our Arrow character that we've had for 3 seasons, and the chili-making, more smart-ass Oliver Queen from the 70s O'Neill Adams comics.
You want a slightly more lighthearted Arrow. We're a little tired of Batman.
Yeah, it's just, and I think that would make a natural sense for the character. As he said, he's no longer feeling alone. He's had resiliency introduced into his life through companions and allies. He and his sister have a better relationship than they've ever had. He's found a person who's willing to accept all these different aspects of him and who challenges him on a daily basis.
Yeah.
I think it's very human to adjust to certain new situations and develop a sense of humor about it.
Yeah.
And we've seen that he has had a sense of humor, but it's all been kind of dark for good reason.
And we were starting to get into that "Hey Ollie" attitude at the beginning of this season, because he was cracking jokes about multitasking that he could fight crime and figure out dinner plans with Felicity in the first episode.
Yeah.
And then the whole missile thing is like, oh
Explosions
no, I have to be alone. And I'd like to get a little more back towards that, where he's not so annoyed by banter happening around him.
When he participates in the banter is some of the best. And
him and Barry are fantastic.
Him and Barry are just a thing of wonder and beauty. And as much as those cameos drive me crazy in terms of timeline and spoilers in terms of advertising, I still love them.
Yeah, they're
still,
fun.
I think adding the Flash as a companion show with Arrow is one of the best things that they could possibly have done. And I'm super looking forward to the spinoff.
Agreed.
Oh, absolutely. And we had such a great setup for the spinoff with what happens with Ray.
That's true.
As he's testing out miniaturization technology and
blows the entire top
So
floor.
what happened? Did he miniaturize the top floor? Did he miniaturize himself but blow up the rest of the top floor? Is he suddenly shunted into, like, did he go so atomic that he's shifted in through space and time, and that's why Rip Hunter is in the show and has to save him? Like, there are so many possibilities with just weird explosion of science.
Right.
I think all of those things.
All of them.
From what I've seen for the premise, Rip Hunter comes of his own accord because he knows that stuff is going to go down in the future and he's trying to prevent/fight it.
Right.
So and again, we're going to have half a season of Arrow to go through before the spinoff airs.
Right.
So I doubt that it'll tie into something that happened in this season finale.
I also think they're definitely going to attend Ray Palmer's funeral. Like, Ray Palmer's going to be presumed dead. There's no way he can't be presumed dead. His entire floor exploded.
Yeah.
Like, he's still somewhere.
I mean, maybe, unless...
You know, Brandon Routh suggested that he would love to do the Sword of the Atom storyline, which was where Ray Palmer disappeared from public life, and he was stuck. This is back in the 80s when they were trying to do something new because no one was reading the Atom anymore. So he was stuck at 6 inches and found this tribe of 6-inch people living in like the jungle. And so it basically became this like sword and sorcery kind of a mix of Conan the Barbarian and Tarzan thing, where he was this scientist who now is living with these strange tribes and the menaces that they fought and stuff. Like, you could find a different way of delving into that while during his absence.
You're going to have to... It's going to be really hard to frame that as not a white savior story.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's a totally
that would be...
They're going to reimagine that.
Right. If they were going that route, you would definitely have to reimagine it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, I would watch that TV program, but I can also kind of see it as some little AU thing.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Also, at Bartimus ATL just said, Felicity's the owner of Palmer Tech. She will probably have to come back after Ray dies in the explosion at the end of this episode.
She also resigned.
But they made a very clear point to tell us she resigned right before he blew up that whole building.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
So she can't be the owner of Palmer
Also,
Tech.
she wasn't the owner. She was vice president, which is a different position.
Yes.
But evidently they were doing transfer of ownership papers and she signed them last episode and something. So she may be she may have 51% of the shares,
she may be the
but
chief,
she doesn't work there.
Right, she may be the chief stockholder, in which case she does have like partial ownership and the majority if they have a board together, like she would have the majority vote, but that doesn't mean she runs the place.
It could just become Queen Consolidated again.
I would not be surprised if that were the case.
Yeah,
If she just made it Queen Consolidated and they just staffed it up with the people they trust.
That actually makes a lot of sense.
And they did all that right before they drove away. They're like, peace, handle it.
I would make a comment about you think Oliver plans ahead that well. He does, but not in terms of business.
Fair enough. He said, handle that, Felicity. I'm gonna go buy this car with this money. How did he? A bunch of people in the chat were asking how he got the money to buy that nice
Maybe
car.
Merlin gave it to him.
Evidently,
Roy stole it.
well, evidently Oliver's financing is explained in the season 2.5 comics.
Okay.
Which are going to come out in, help me, omnibus is not the word I'm looking for.
Trade.
Thank you. I lost the word.
It's okay.
Yeah, which will evidently come out in trade form in some capacity in the future. As far as I know, they are still going on, and I think available for digital purpose. Anyway,
I'm sure they're digital. Yeah.
things explained in a medium that I have not read, but still ties into the show. Yay! Let's talk about the virus. Because this was our big problem in the city that didn't get nearly as bad as we thought it was going to get.
Yeah, we
It's
were
like when
told
you-
a few casualties.
It's like when you see when they build up a cartoon explosion, it's this huge bomb, and it goes off, and it's this little. That's
right.
kind of what this felt like.
I was actually talking to someone today, and I was telling them how I was going to do the Arrow after show, and they're like, "Wait, that wasn't the season finale last week?"
That would have been a glorious cliffhanger, but oh my god!
Well, no, it was episode 22. They're within their right. Usually these things end at 22. She's like, no, that just felt like a huge cliffhanger. We're all going to come back next season. Now, let's be fair. How annoyed would we be if we waited till September for them to just wake up?
Yeah.
For them to just wake up and like, no, I inoculated you with my hand. Secretly.
But the flip side is, and I'm thinking of how the fandom handles things like this, fandoms on hiatus go insane.
Yes.
And it's beautiful because there's theories and there's fan fiction and there's manips and there's, well, how could they have done this? Well, maybe it's this, well, maybe there's that. And by the time you come back, there's so much lore built around it that it's always fun to see the people who are like, I called literally everything that happened, and the people who did what we did today and kind of went, what did I just watch?
Yeah, but on the flip side, like it's nice to have kind of a sense of closure that way. Like we still have room to speculate and all that stuff. But like I would have been upset if that was the last episode.
Oh, absolutely.
man.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But this is the first season finale where Arrow's kind of tied it up and put a nice little bow on things.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
sure didn't for season 1.
Yeah, you're right. The other two season finales directly were setting up another threat.
Yeah.
I feel like what they could have done for this one is make last week's episode 90 minutes. Cut out some of what happened last week, cut out some of what happened this week, distill it. We could have had a 90-minute episode and had it be a lot more packed, a lot more. Yeah.
Yeah, I can
'Cause
see that.
Thinking they might be dead for a week was
Well-
completely spoiled the second we saw the episode trailer. So,
And
ta-da.
also, it's sort of diminished by the fact that the longer you're in a certain story, the more you're becoming aware of. We've sort of been here before. There was a lot of
yeah.
been there, done that in this. Like, there are multiple places in the city we have to be in. Well, we saw that
That was
this
the crossover.
season. Yeah. And, there's something that's going to be spread all over the city. It's like we sort of saw that before as well. Like, and you sort of forgive that if everything's moving faster. But when you've got 2 whole episodes
Yeah.
hammering this home, it does let you consider more like, yeah, we've sort of done this already. It had a lot of great parts to it, and I freaking loved a few of the scenes, like Speedy's introduction and costume. Like, that was a great entrance.
That was amazing.
How did we feel about Speedy's costume?
She looked so good. I
I'm good
want
with
it.
it.
I liked it.
A couple people in the chat room were saying she looked like a cheerleader.
What?
What high school did they go to where they had cheerleaders like that?
Yeah.
Vigilante high school?
I would totally.
Vigilante high. Yay!
Cheerleaders have some great outfits sometimes. I would
Not
be
like
totally,
that.
I would be totally down for a cheerleader who was dressed looking like a superhero,
no.
telling us to win.
She looks more like dance team. Because
okay.
cheerleaders tend to do more skirts and poms and such, and
That's
dance teams
true.
are the ones that have
That's
full
true.
pants and all that. So
true.
I've been down for a dance team dressed like that.
Also, according to Rodrigo Mendoza, the Arrow writers have said that the Comic-Con trailer that they're showing for Arrow this Comic-Con is going to be the best ever.
Well, I'm going to be there with bells on, so that'll be fun and
Billman.
interesting.
I will be at
I'll
the
be there.
bar, and you can tell me about it later.
No pass?
No, I'll be there. I don't do Hall H stuff.
I'll be
or any
watching
of the-
Periscope. I'll be watching Periscope from the many people in Hall H Periscoping.
Periscoping.
Remember last year that Marvel panel where you couldn't see the footage? That's not going to happen this year.
Yeah.
Periscope, guys.
Well, I'm not going to sit here and talk about supporting piracy during Comic-Con. That's a bad plan.
I wasn't promoting it. I was just saying it's going to happen.
Someone's saying the cheerleader comments were about Supergirl.
Yes, I misread whoever said that, and I apologize.
Okay.
I didn't think that made a whole lot of sense either. But there was too much
confused.
positivity.
Other than the fact that she has a skirt, no.
There's too much
Not
positivity
really.
in this
it
panel.
It was a long coat, and then she looked amazing.
I think Supergirl looks good.
would cosplay, do want. Just wow.
You're cosplaying as everyone today.
I am.
Go for it.
Cosplay as anyone I want.
That's what cosplay is about.
Can we
But
talk about the
Speedy looked
Roz
amazing.
fight?
Can we please?
Can we talk
Can we
about
talk
the
about the
virus?
Roz-
We didn't talk about the
we're
virus.
still
Except that it just kind of.
virus.
I mean,
I did like that they used people instead of trying to set off a canister or whatever.
Yeah.
That was cool, and that was very much a Ra's al Ghul style plan that sets him up as a different villain than other villains we've seen before, because that's not something that Malcolm or Deathstroke would have necessarily thought of.
though,
Yeah, well, Deathstroke did use people, but he
Not as,
expected them to
right.
kill things,
Right, not
whereas it
as
was like,
dirty bombs.
you go
Yeah.
die.
Though I would argue that
Yeah.
his use of having a person be the delivery system kind of diluted the virus, because in Hong Kong only a vial was enough to kill all those people, but having a person, however much virus they had in their system, only killed a few people.
Gotcha.
True, but he did expect to have 4 different locations, and honestly,
Well-
if he'd been smart, he would have infected several dozen people.
Didn't they also
and set them
say
out.
the more blood that was exposed to the air was
Yes.
what affected things? And they all had a
Right.
sword that they were going to really
Yeah.
gush their necks out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, I hear what you're saying. I guess he just figured, for the sake of security, at least this was a better thing because a vial could be taken away from a person. But
That's
Right.
very
even if
true.
you handcuff him, he can smash his face into the sidewalk and you're all gone.
Fair
I
enough.
did like seeing Merlin pull the backbreaker on that one guy. Just like, let's get creative.
That was
Yeah.
cool.
He starts
Okay.
bleeding from the
That's
nose.
a
And he's
thing.
literally like, I killed, and then he was just like, I killed one of those guys.
Got him.
I'm
Ta-da,
sorry.
winner.
Sorry, I don't know.
Sorry, not sorry.
This whole non-lethal thing you guys do, I don't get it. I saw a guy, I broke his neck. I can't change the past.
I'm not even
Well,
sure
and
if it was the right
Felicity
guy.
making the very good point of we're not taking any chances, get the body someplace airtight, and try not to kill anyone else.
Laurel didn't die.
Yeah, wasn't gonna.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, Laurel was inoculated, Nissa wasn't, and we were talking about, well, maybe they'll swap spit and it'll do the inoculation. Because
Yeah.
why not?
And somebody just said, nope, Laurel lives. ... Unfortunately.
Aw.
You
She's
shut
gotten
up.
so much better this season.
I am so tired of the hate on the women in this show. It's just, guys,
They do
get
have to
over
use.
it.
They do have to use Laurel better, though.
They do
That-
need to
that's-
use her better.
yes.
Good character, poor
Yes.
execution.
Yes, absolutely.
Speaking of Laurel,
Go for
I
it.
loved that scene that she had with Lance today.
Yes.
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 That was really, it was kind of touching. And
Mm-hmm.
it for anyone who has any experience with people who suffer from alcoholism, it's like everything that she was saying was true, and it
Yes.
hits home that much harder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I thought that was really well done. You also had brought up the race fight.
Yes, let's talk
Yes.
about that right now.
Though I do want to comment on, it's another world-ending event. Must be May.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Oh, that
lo
was
and
so funny.
behold, because this series kind of takes place in real time-ish. I mean, they believe in a 5-month break between
Yeah.
seasons. But every time that May rolls around, surprise, surprise, someone's
there's-
trying to destroy the
burning down the
city.
city.
Earthquake machine. There's a bunch of Deathstrokes. There's something.
It's clockwork at this point,
little
and
bit.
they're just Lance is just kind of skirting the fourth wall because he's done caring.
Right.
That was a wonderful skirting the fourth
That
wall.
was glorious.
No, but that fight was pretty badass.
The damn
not,
fight.
Yes.
Not how I expected it to end.
no,
I gotta say.
he
a
beat
funny
him pretty handily.
a funny thing. Elliot Brum, who's at Tight Dog, which is like tight dog.
Okay.
Yes.
Am I the only one who loved how Oliver hasn't cleaned that sword in months? No wonder it broke. I like that a lot.
That's a fair point.
That is a very fair point.
even in combat class, first thing you learn, clean your tool.
Yeah.
Well, it was in him. It's like, I'll never wash this hand again. that sort of thing.
No.
I keep this bloody sword to remind me of the time that I almost died, which is completely unlike all those other times that I almost died.
I gotta say though, with the dam battle, they're
We're
just
just
like,
gonna be calling it the damn battle.
Damn bad.
That damn battle.
they were like, we have to wait for a clear shot, and we kept seeing there were lots of clear shots because they kept pausing to talk to each other.
Are there budget cuts where they can't afford more than one bullet? So it's like, well, we should wait for one to kill the other,
Right.
and then shoot that one.
We're
I'd
gonna
like-
wait until they're standing in the exact right way, shoot one bullet, and have it go through both of them. It'll be great.
I'd like to imagine that Lance was actually next to the sniper going, so, how does that gun work? And he's like, I'm trying to get a shot off. No, I mean, like, really? Does it have a silencer on it? Like, is this...
Waving his arms in front of
Yeah.
people's faces.
Can you see my
Like,
hand?
You
Can
can't
you see my hand?
You can't see.
I don't see Lance being that subtle, but I get your point. I see Lance standing next to a sniper. Like I see Lance standing next to a sniper and just be like, "Hey, guy, you're doing the wrong thing, guy.
Stop it.
Guy, we went to the academy together. Stop it. Hey, guy."
Hey, do you want a sandwich? What? I'm trying to line up a shot. I got a bacon sandwich here. Do you want? Don't have to be
pretty
mean
hungry.
about it. You don't have to be mean about it. I'm just asking. No, look at me when I'm talking to you.
Oh, man.
Hashtag distraction tactics.
Do you want whiskey? I got plenty of whiskey. I don't drink whiskey anymore. I give you all my whiskey.
Don't tell my daughter.
Tell my daughter I didn't pour the whiskey out. I like to have the whiskey. I don't want to drink it, but I want to know I can have it.
Is he Sam Vimes now?
Pretty much.
Dark territory.
We really are.
But yeah, so Oliver
We've ruined
came back at the end.
He did. There was a lot I predicted in this episode. I did not predict the fight going that way or going like that. I thought the fight was badass.
Honestly, and I think it was because after watching S.H.I.E.L.D. last night and watching this, when he broke the sword, I had this moment of, did he cut his hand off?
Oh, yeah.
No, that reaction is way too subtle to have lost anything more than a weapon.
Yep.
I honestly thought that he just lost a hand. Like,
No,
okay.
that final blow, and then I thought it was very interesting that even though he wasn't going to accept the mantle, he did say the sort of Ra's al Ghul
prayer.
prayer.
Yeah.
That was interesting.
How did he memorize it that quickly?
Doesn't
He's had
matter.
weeks to do it.
Sure. And this is the prayer you say before you murder someone.
I liked that because I feel like on a certain level, no matter what Raz has done, like Oliver still kind of respects him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, even as like you see his tactician practices. Yep, that's the word I'm looking for. So like I think that that moment was great, especially because you got to see that Oliver was worthy of taking the throne. And like even though he didn't want it, I think that like he would have made a great Roz, and I think that moment proved that.
Mm-hmm. I will stand by it. We could have done a alternate universe spin-off series where Oliver is Ra's al Ghul.
The Ra's al Ghul of justice.
The Ra's al
Yes.
Ghul, the Ra's al Ghul show, and then we just claim that it's two alternate timelines.
We really need to just keep a list of all these AUs and start making them.
We should.
I think that would go down swimmingly.
Like where Felicity just keeps the armor.
I am down for that. That was
I'm glad they did that.
It was a telegraphed save, kind of, because he needs to be saved, and points to Ray, and you will not hear me say that often, points to Ray for doing the right thing and putting the needs of the many above the needs of the few, because he's programming his nanites.
Nanites.
I keep losing words.
Nanotech.
Praise nanotech.
Praise nanotech.
But he's programming his nanites to dispense the vaccination and be airborne, and that's obviously not super easy to do. So he's doing 15 things at once, and he can't just pack up and go to save Oliver.
Yeah.
So Felicity does it. And good for her for figuring out how to make that fly on the first go.
Yeah.
Well, we don't know how long. We don't know how long that fight was going when she decided to get into the suit. That may have taken her a bunch of tries.
That's true.
It's Felicity, I doubt it.
I'm voting it took her at least 2 tries. It's still wardrobe stuff. I don't know.
Well, and
Could
she's
be either
also
way.
seen him do it, and she has a good amount more common sense than he does, and also desperation.
Fair enough.
Right.
But I would love.
if we'd kept on watching the scene, I'm sure we would have realized you have one of your legs on backwards or something.
Yeah, there'd be some flavor of outtakes
right.
if this were a comedy and not someone's gonna die, which someone got shot 3 times in the chest. Holy cow.
Yes. I love how they didn't feel the need to tell us that the league armor is armor and it's like Kevlar and you can take bullets.
Right.
Yeah, I guess.
We just watched him fall into a dam and then have somebody pick him up, and we're like, is he okay?
And I was cackling wildly when he fell off the dam. I just...
Yeah, because we were totally
it could be more dramatic, and then...
We were totally going for the Sherlock Moriarty final battle at that point.
I actually figured that it was really good because this whole episode has just been parallelism with things they've been doing. You became someone else, you became something else.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Okay, Oliver's just going to fall off of things during finales in this. He just does that now.
That's true.
Oh, it's a finale. Bye!
Right. Well, I thought that I thought the symbolism was great, actually.
Oh, yeah.
Because the first time he fell, he was alone, and eventually he was healed. But this time he had his friends to catch him.
Yeah.
So I thought that was a nice little touch.
No, it's definitely a nice bookend to how this particular journey began.
It is, and I have enjoyed the parallelism this episode. And that's what you can do to kind of skirt away from, we've done all this before, is we're deliberately mirroring things.
I'm pretty sure the League's outfit is made of dead Kryptonians. Says Khalil Warren. Khalil Warren.
Okay.
So,
that's funny. I find that funny.
When people have taken down League assassins with arrows, do they just narrowly avoid the main part of the
Kevlar
shirt?
doesn't stop knives.
They get it.
It'll take the impact of a bullet, but
right.
it won't take a sharp point. So
Right.
it won't stop knives, and therefore it won't stop arrows. It's a different form of impact.
Right, that makes
I
sense.
research things sometimes.
No, that makes sense. Yeah.
So we have that. Let's take a minute here, take a break, recollect our thoughts, and we're going to talk to you guys about iTunes and
Yes.
SoundCloud and YouTube and all of the other wonderful ways that you can find AfterBuzz. For one, thank you all so much for going on to iTunes, for leaving reviews, for rating. Thank you for leaving 5 stars. Those of you that have, and those of you that haven't, we know who you are, and you have failed this podcast. Not quite. We do appreciate the ratings. We do appreciate the comments. And that's how our producers know that, hey, people are watching the show. People like the show. We should bring them back in next season. And our producers sit in the booth giving us 2 thumbs up. So, yes, the comments and the likes and the subscribes and all that fun stuff is how we know that you like us. So, find us on iTunes, like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Subscribe on YouTube so you can watch the live shows and participate in the live chats and get shout-outs on air. Talk to us on Twitter. Subscribe on SoundCloud. All those wonderful things. If you already are, thank you. You know we love you. Yay.
Yay.
And that is my sales pitch for the evening.
Also, tweet at showrunners, creators, and actors if you are so inclined, because that's another way we get that that's another way that these shows get to the size that people would love to come on and talk to us.
Arrow writers and producers, the Twitter accounts, have retweeted us before because they are wonderful human beings and they make a wonderful show. And it's kind of on everyone's bucket list on the show to get Stephen Amell to come on. That
Yes.
is, we have not been subtle about that.
Fair enough. I was trying to be subtle. That was my mistake.
We're on the Arrow After Show. We don't do subtle.
Got it.
The show does not believe in subtle. So we have at this point pretty much the wrap-up. Oliver's alive. Roz is not.
One thing with where he and Felicity might be going now, are they going to Coast City? Because apparently that's where he went, as it implies, after Hong Kong, when he needed to reconnect with who he was or take a time out to figure out what he was now. It looks like he went to Coast City, so we might be doing a thing where it's, all right, I was here before, and we could get flashbacks to Coast City.
Could be.
A test pilot vanished from Ferris Air, according to Flash. So if that happened a couple of years ago, then might we see that test pilot in the flashbacks to Coast City?
Interesting.
That seems the most realistic.
Yes.
Well, and it's not unlike them to backdoor spin off things from Arrow. Because we have the Flash. I mean, that's the reason for it.
Or to try.
Spin-off.
You just try. It's a bunch of flashbacks.
I mean,
Hal Jordan's there. We get to see that. And if people like it.
People in the chat, hands up if you would watch a Green Lantern show.
We'll wait.
And by hands, she means thumbs.
Well, there's a bit of a delay, so there will be a sea of hands up in a few minutes.
So we'll just be in dead air until...
Yeah.
We'll just wait.
And we have Oliver essentially saying, thanks for... I thought I had to do this on my own. I was super, super wrong about that. You guys are amazing. I'm going on vacay. because the Arrow is not a thing anymore. So I need to figure out who this person is.
Also, in the wrap-up, there's a lot of people among Twitter and our chat roll that are saying that Ra's al Ghul is not dead.
Yeah.
That he got stabbed in the side, and then he grimaced, and then just kind of fell over. I think he's dead.
He got stabbed in the stomach as well.
Yeah, he got stabbed the second time.
Yeah.
I have a really hard time believing that that's not the case. One, because unless they're explicitly alive at the end of this... The only villain, the only big bad they have a habit of bringing back is Merlin. And that's because he's John Barrowman, and everyone loves him, and you kind of can't not love John Barrowman. Slade, they explicitly left him alive. Ra's al Ghul, for anything to turn out happy for anyone, he had to die. And I seriously doubt that anyone showed up and went, we must revive this man. Obviously, no. Dead is dead is dead.
Yeah.
No one's going to drag him back to Nanda Parbat and throw him in the frog water for another go.
Though it would be interesting if they did. There was like a sub-faction of the League that wanted him back, so they brought him to the what do they call that thing with
The frog
thing?
water.
The Lazarus
pit.
Yeah.
I keep thinking
the
frog
life
water,
hot
but-
tub.
But we did talk about retreading old ground, and that
Exactly.
would be would be a problem.
No, that would be a huge mistake. Someone's asking why I think Coast City is important. So Coast City is the home of Hal Jordan, a.k.a. a test pilot for Ferris Aircraft, who then became Earth's first Green Lantern. And Oliver and Hal were best friends in the DC Comics, as Hal had a very close relationship with Barry as well. So
Ryan Reynolds is going to be on next season?
Ryan Reynolds.
I'd be okay with that. That film's failings were not Ryan Reynolds.
I'm kidding. I don't think Ryan Reynolds does TV anymore.
We do have a good comment from Bart Burnett on Twitter. Did anyone wonder where Tatsu went? What was her character's point? I am sad that she kind of exited stage left. I can understand why, and that's something in the back pocket of the series that may come out again later. We're not getting rid of her, but I can see why she didn't. Well, her beef isn't with Ra's. Her beef isn't with the League. Her issue is with her husband being there, and that is a point that has been wrapped up and then buried 6 feet under.
I did get sad that not only here but also earlier when she took Oliver back somewhat to civilization, that she immediately went away again, because Katana's a great character.
I would be surprised if Katana does not come back in some capacity.
Or in the spin-off show.
Or in the spin-off, or in the Flash, or in wherever, or give her own spin-off. I would be on that like white on rice. Hey, we can have a woman of color helming a superhero show.
I mean,
that would be amazing.
Yeah, we've almost got that with Vixen, but it's animated. It's not quite the same impact. Although I will watch it. I will watch it because I love Vixen.
I will watch that TV program.
That's definitely happening.
Oh yeah,
we're all watching it. I think most people hearing our voices will try. We'll at the very least try Vixen.
Yeah.
Have we had a sea of hands in the chat?
Oh, there was such a sea of hands. We were on to another topic, but it was
okay.
At one point, it was
hand emojis.
John Diggle is not becoming John Stewart. They've confirmed that.
Yes.
John Diggle and John Stewart are two different characters in the comics. They coexist in the comic book universe, but also the producers have all said they're not going to be the same character. And honestly,
thank goodness, right?
Yeah, because let's have more than one badass black military dude in the DC universe.
This isn't S.H.I.E.L.D. We can have more than one black guy at a time.
Yeah.
And I love Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but let's be real.
They went 8 whole episodes with 2 different black guys.
Oh my God.
That's really progressive.
Can we say that for this show?
I'm not going to say that.
Man. We do, however, have some gay and bisexual people who are portrayed as actual human beings and not stereotypes, which, glory, hallelujah, I will give the CW so many points for that.
Yeah.
Because Nyssa, I saw this really hacky turn where Nyssa was going to, fall in love with Laurel and they were just going to become a couple. Which would have gone against everything you're saying.
Honestly, I would. I ship it like FedEx at Christmas.
Really?
I would be 100% behind watching that develop. And let's be real, they had the scene where they were sharing the milkshakes, and that's the point where it became super shippy.
Milkshake is code for sex. We all know that.
They bring all the boys to the yard. I mean,
totally.
or in this case, all of the League of Assassins. Maybe not. But I would be down for that, and I will be just as happy if it does not happen and they remain friends. I'm cool with either.
Like any other story, just write it well.
Yeah.
Right.
And we have a woman on the show, presumably a woman of color, uncertain, who is also confirmed gay by word of God. So, yay. And she's a person first and not just a gay stereotype.
Right.
That's very good.
Yeah.
That needs to happen in more places.
It really does. I never thought I'd be thanking the CW for such forward-thinking representation because it's the CW, but
They're rocking out on a lot of things, like in Flash as well. Yeah.
now if only they could do that for Supernatural. Supernatural, they can't keep a woman on the show.
I don't watch the show. I can't comment.
Is Supernatural still happening?
I saw the musical episode in the first 2 seasons. That's
All right.
it.
Anyway, let's get back to kind of the wrap-up of the episode.
Sure.
We had him talking with Diggle, which... very good points that Diggle still can't get over Oliver kidnapping his wife and leaving his child alone in the house, and Oliver being pretty reasonable, saying, yeah, I'm not expecting you to.
Yeah.
And Diggle was pretty much over this whole being a part of the team and trying to save the city thing anyway. Like, he was trying to retire back to a life in his house with his kid.
True.
It's hard for a guy like that to do, but he's trying.
Yeah.
Do you think he'll retire, given the conversations that we had at the end of this episode?
Not a chance, because there's no Oliver Queen.
That's true.
He needs to be a part of the team that polices the city.
Do we think he'll have a costume?
People in the chat have been...
Maybe he'll Casey Jones it.
That would
That'd be
be
cool.
interesting.
Well, maybe Malcolm Merlin will have his team of seamstresses work on something.
Penny will show up.
Well, I think Bobby, who does the candles, he probably got reassigned to the seamstress department. So he's
And now he works for Penny. That's so awkward.
The first thing that Malcolm Al Ghul does is get electric lighting put in. Like this generator out back. I'll be calling him Malcolm Al Ghul. I don't
love
care.
that. That's happening. Or Marlon Malgul.
We already talked about Damon
Or
Darhk.
Roz Merlin.
Ros Mal Ghul.
Ros Malgul. All right. Hashtag Ros Malgul. We did
Winner.
it. You're welcome, guys. Also, he's going to be in that hot tub so much.
I know, right? Just hanging out. Someone brings him a martini. Whatever.
It's going to be fabulous.
It's John Barrowman. I wouldn't be surprised. I'm sure there are pictures of that somewhere. And we have Thea staying in costume, which didn't want you to stay in costume, but okay. And some pretty good goodbyes to people. Just
Yeah.
Oliver wrapping up loose ends.
Like,
Yeah.
if
That was nicely done.
He
how
never
would
gets
we
a chance to do this, so it's
if
been
Arrow
nice.
ended right now, how would we feel?
I'd feel good about it.
I'd feel pretty complete.
Yeah.
I
I'd
mean,
be-
I would feel good, but I would want a Speedy spin-off series to start happening with Speedy and Diggle.
and
Well,
Ros
Speedy-
Mal Ghul still in the
Yeah,
background.
Speedy and Diggle.
Sure.
Well, that entire team he left. Like, you just have a Starling
Yeah.
City or Star City. Like, you have a Starling City show.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'd be okay with it, but it would also take Felicity out of the picture, and I
Yeah.
would be very unhappy about that.
Yeah.
She
I'm
could be
saying
in
it-
the other spin-off.
But I'm saying if, like, the CW if the CW canceled the show in upfronts last week,
I mean-
this is all we get.
This is a pretty good ending.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is
I'm
a great
happy
ending.
it's not the ending.
Yeah, I'm happy
no,
this
no,
isn't
no.
it.
And I
But
mean,
this
we don't
would
ever
work.
get closure on Arrow,
This
so it
would
was
work.
kind of nice to have it for once.
Right.
And kind of odd to have it for once. It does feel like a series finale.
You know what I just thought?
What?
We kind of, by we I mean Arrow, sort of dropped the whole plot point where Ray Palmer was trying to rebrand Starling City into Star City. Whatever happened with that?
I thought
It might happen later. Oliver might pick that up and run with it if we wind up with Queen Consolidated again. It might be something that the mayor, once we replace the mayor who was brutally murdered, have we replaced that mayor yet? Who
I
knows?
hope so. I don't know.
Hasn't
There's
been
a
a lot of
Maybe
time.
something
Honestly-
that they pick up and run with. I feel like it would be more of a civic measure now that Ray Palmer's not like the golden boy in the sun anymore.
I feel
Right.
like that was more a reference than anything else. Like,
Yeah.
that was
So?
a reference to that it used to be that in the comics it's called
Right.
Star City.
Yeah.
Do you think it will ever become Star City?
I feel there's plenty of room in the next 2 seasons, and given the way they write this show, to burn this mother to the ground. Like but in season 1, you take down an entire neighborhood. It's not unrealistic. I thought it was going to happen this season, where like half the city goes down.
Right.
Also, someone on Twitter mentioned every May in Starling City, people should just evacuate.
Pretty much.
Everyone should just go on vacation.
Actually, can we just do a short? Can we all write and do a short sketch where we're all Starling City residents, and it's like May 1st, on vacation.
I'm out.
Where are you going? It's like, I'm evacuating.
I'm going to go visit my family in Toledo. I'm going to LA to star in a short series. I'm going to go do whatever, but I am getting the heck out of Dodge.
I'm just staying out of Starling City in
Dodge.
May. Starling City in May. I don't want to be there.
Like, nope, forget it. I'm leaving Starling City and going to Dodge. They come back and it's just like infested with raccoons. It's like, no, it's Raccoon City. Different franchise.
Lots of stuff.
Can we talk about Ra's Al Ghul?
Yes.
Just, dear God.
I told you this would happen.
I know, and I'm not surprised, but evidently it was as easy as a prophetic loophole and handing over the pointy gold thing of doom.
It does seem weird that all the followers would be like, oh, this guy that the last guy really, really, really wanted dead, but he's got the ring.
The claw.
He's got the bling. He's got the demon bling. Bling Al Ghul.
Was he even wearing it at any point since he got introduced in the middle of the season?
I think he was.
Yeah.
He doesn't usually wear it in combat, question mark.
Right.
But I think he was wearing it every time he was in the nice dress robes and whatnot.
Got it. Because he wore a decent amount of bling, and I saw that as like a pretty, just kind of a pick out. Of just like, this particular piece of bling I own commands the league.
It was a very odd thing to introduce as super important at the end. If it had been something they'd focused on more, if it had been something even a few episodes ago, and then one day you will wear this as being the mark of the new Ra's al Ghul or whatever.
Right.
This is the family jewels we passed down, yada yada yada. And it came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And I did love the prophetic loophole. Well, I survived his blade. Da da da.
Yeah.
Really? That's how we're parsing it? Not sure how I feel about Nyssa staying with the League and kneeling to him.
Well,
I feel like he would have let her go had she wanted to leave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
No, you don't think so?
She signed on to the League. She's loyal to the League. Like, she's a member of the League of Assassins.
Right, but she's also been out of it for the last several episodes and was considered like an enemy of the state, basically.
But that was under the old ruler.
Right.
This ruler has accepted her and said, you're in.
Yeah.
But that gives her somewhere to go.
And she's also straight up said, I will have justice for you murdering Sarah.
Yeah.
So. And I did like Oliver, even at the end of this, going, I will never forgive you.
Yeah.
Like, thank you! Finally!
Yeah.
I'm putting
It's been a while.
You're a villain, I'm putting you on
You're-
a shelf.
You're not an anti-hero. You're not a sympathetic. Like, you're bad.
I'll see you in May.
You do bad things.
You're the devil I know.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's just essentially what he is. And now he's the devil he knows in a position of power, which is a very, very dangerous position for Oliver to leave him in. Because
But not
what's
for
to stop
Oliver.
him from doing anything?
My understanding is that he'd probably leave Oliver alone for a long time.
Also, he has no Wi-Fi.
Yeah, he really.
Yeah.
He has
Okay, so the first, year or two is, all right, we're going to install air conditioning, we're going to install lights, we're going to get Wi-Fi, and then we're watching Game of Thrones, because seriously, guys, you haven't heard of Game of Thrones? You're living it out here. I don't know, it'll be a bit. So, and then we have Oliver and Felicity driving off into the sunset.
Yep.
In a really super
On the
nice
coast.
car. On the coast.
Towards the city.
Literally
saying.
driving off into the sunset. Like, how much more romantic and can you get?
Yeah.
Also, someone said Diggle for mayor. I'm down with that.
Diggle for mayor.
Nice.
What
see that.
is his political qualifications for that? I guess he has a military
no
record.
crime.
There's something.
Military record.
Yeah.
He was Oliver Queen's driver. for a
Not
while.
necessarily a good point for his political career.
I'm sure.
Arnold Schwarzenegger was governor.
That's a fair point.
And
That's a
that's
fair
real
point.
life.
No, that's a fair point.
Right.
So, what did we think of this season overall? Good things, bad things, top and bottom, the overall writing, the acting. Do you have any thoughts?
Stronger than one, not as strong as two.
You think so?
I think it was enjoyable. There were like I said, I think there were things that either retread old ground, like our whole Oliver's missing from the city. How will we operate without him? And him coming back like, look, you all worked as a team. Like we had that last season, and then we had it again, sort of in this finale. There are a few too many things that were retread. There are things that were like the flashbacks to Hong Kong, spaced out way too damn much. But you had some really great character arcs. You did, as shakily as it happened, get Laurel into a more proactive, heroic position. Mm-hmm. You got Lance to finally just get all the knowledge and all the truth and be very upfront with how he does or doesn't stand with certain things. You got Thea's entire arc this whole season.
Yes.
I thought it was
Yeah,
solid.
my gosh.
It was great.
Thea's was great.
Because they kept her in the dark for season 2.
Yeah.
The entire,
Yeah.
like season 2, I think they kept her away enough that it never felt weird.
Yeah.
But you're like, when is she gonna find out? That,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
what's happening literally under the club that she runs?
It worked great this season. I thought everything with Thea was done so well, and yeah, the development with Nyssa. I think there was a lot to like about this season. I just think that there were a few episodes that seemed like they needed another pass.
So
Right.
better character arcs, but overall the whole plot arc needed a little rework.
Yeah, the plots needed some tweaking.
Yeah.
I would have loved the reveal about who killed Sarah and then getting Oliver actually into the league a lot sooner on both counts.
Yeah.
Because we
Yeah.
could have done a lot with Oliver absent and in the league, or Oliver fighting off the league and refusing to. It was
those
compressed, and
two-
it could have been more.
Well, it's like the whole thing where he's missing when Brick shows up, and then later he's in the league, so he's missing. Like, you should have made that the same saga.
Yeah.
Also,
You know.
I don't know that I agree because of the different emotional beats for them.
Also, and this is a tiny like fanboy thing. Liam Neeson should have been Ra's al Ghul, even if it meant
I would have had like an actual Middle Eastern actor for once, like
Yeah,
play
I
it.
know, right?
And I know that
What's
they
his name?
explained it as
Oded Fair something?
Yeah, well, like he would be fine, but and I know they're trying to explain it as like, well, there have been many Ra's al Ghul, so maybe the original was Middle Eastern, but this the fourth or fifth is not.
Right.
It's like, yeah, but honestly, guys, what would be the harm?
But even if
Freaking do it.
Even if we
Yeah.
only got 2 episodes actually with Ra's al Ghul, if Liam Neeson were Ra's al Ghul,
2 episodes would be about all they could afford, I think.
yeah, like pretty
with that
much, they would.
budget.
Yeah.
Like, and I think we wouldn't get the Atom suit at all.
No.
Like all the money that went to the Atom suit, we'd be like, sorry, we got Liam Neeson.
I would have been okay
broke.
with a little less of a repainted Ted Cord there. And I think that's because, for me, one of the biggest faux pas of this season was his introduction and the development of his relationship with Felicity. Just because it started off as stalking, and she used the word stalking, and it was creepy and uncomfortable most of the way through, and then at one point she just kind of gave in. And this was all painted in a neutral to positive light. Unlike the wedding we had a couple of episodes ago where everyone was really pissed off that this wedding happened. Well, yeah, the show shows you throughout the whole episode, this is a bad thing, being enforced by the villain. You don't do this. It was very much, yeah, this is a terrible thing to do, but the show lets you know it. That whole relationship with Ray was like, well, he's rich and he's charismatic, so it's okay. And it really, really super isn't.
Right.
Yeah, I agree.
So that, for me, was one of the biggest missteps of the season. I can't say I dislike him as a character. Good character, poor execution for the first half of the season.
Right.
Yeah.
But I think he was a really good accompaniment for Felicity.
Yeah.
I did like their relationship once we got past the stalkery origins, even though that really kind of tainted the whole thing.
Yeah.
But they had really good chemistry. They bounced off each other really well. It was great having another tech person in the house.
Yeah.
He was fun. He was interesting. I wish I didn't start off hating the guy.
It's again, like I said, you need to give a couple things another pass, which I realize
You can't really do
you
it
can't
once you
always
start
do
it,
that
yeah.
because the nature of television is it's got to be fast. You've got to make it done. Like sometimes things have to be rewritten in a night.
Yeah.
And I get that. So which is why I'm sympathetic and why I think overall they still did a fun job. It was a fun show.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we, again, had some great development for Thea. We actually had some pretty good arc for Roy, and I'm sad he's gone, but I think we'll be okay.
Yeah.
I actually
I'm
more
okay.
like Thea in the costume than him, not gonna lie.
And I'm okay with how they wrote him out.
Yeah,
I'm fine with that.
for an ultimately pointless sacrifice, but nonetheless.
Yeah. I mean, they were
Yeah.
underutilizing him anyway, so
Yeah.
They kind of were.
Well, it seemed like every episode either he's got to be underutilized or Diggle's got to be underutilized.
Right.
It's like they can't both be badasses because then Oliver has something to do, or Black Canary has something to do, and it's like that became problematic in the writing.
Well, because
we have a show. Go ahead.
Oh, they serve opposing purposes. I mean, Diggle is there to mentor, and Roy was there. I almost said Ray. Roy is there to be mentored, so you can't have Oliver being mentored while mentoring. It tears the character in too many directions. It has to highlight one or the other.
Yeah,
that's also why we had to get rid of him, because Roy and Ray are one letter apart, and what are we gonna do?
Yeah, that's one of them's gotta go. That's way confusing.
But I do like that this is a show with all of these women and all of these varied roles, and we can balance them pretty well. But if we have two guys in opposing roles, what are we gonna do with this? How do we handle this? I don't know.
Right. I like that a lot of the characters got really great moments to act. Like, Lance really pulled it out this season.
My gosh, yes.
So well done. Blackthorn was great this season.
So good. Like, I would watch a show of him just yelling at people.
You'd watch a procedural in Starling City where all of the costume people are kind of peripheral.
Right. So Gotham,
we could have
but
had
Starling
that.
City.
Like
we could have had that with Gotham Central. That didn't happen.
So pretty much Gotham, but better.
I don't know what you guys are talking about.
No comment.
Well, let me explain.
Yeah.
No, there is too much. Let me sum up.
Season 2, guys?
Okay? Yeah, season 2, guys. Yeah, I'm not allowed to do that.
Should we move on to predictions? Yeah.
There we go.
AfterBuzz TV.
That is the best switch I think I have ever seen. Go, Steve,
I have a
go.
bombshell. I'm going to drop it right now.
Okay, do it.
In 5 months, Oliver's not going to love Felicity.
You schmuck.
Sad.
No.
You have no romance in your heart.
I can hear the fandom tearing itself in two in the distance.
Because I think 52% of them are going to be on my side with this.
The whole 52%.
That's,
he's probably right.
Exactly 52%.
On the internet, that is a sweeping majority.
Yeah.
Depending on how loud they are.
Well, 48% a sweeping majority. It's a loud 48.
10.
I just think because Ray, sorry, see?
Yeah, it happens.
That's why we can't have...
Because Ray is in love with her, and Oliver has a lot to work out. And we still have 2 years worth of flashbacks of stuff that he's allegedly already worked out emotionally. I think he's in a place to be with her for about 5 or 6 months. And it's going to get to a point where he's not ready.
Right.
I'm predicting it now. I don't think he's in love with her. I think he likes her. I think he wants to spend time with her. I think she's good for him now.
But he doesn't know how to be in a real relationship.
Yeah, I don't think he's in love with her.
Right. Okay.
It also depends on... I'd say it depends on how he approaches it, how willing he is to talk, how willing he is to accept help, etc. Because we do have a new Oliver who's just realized he's a new Oliver, so we can't really figure out which trajectory he'll take. I know there's a lot of people who are pushing for a relationship with him and Laurel just because it's canon in the comics, but we've already kind of shown that canon in the comics doesn't necessarily mean a whole lot in this neighborhood.
They shouldn't hook up ever again.
Yeah, no, that was a disaster.
Yes.
That was just the worst.
And way too much baggage.
Way too much.
I can't say I agree with that particular prediction. I can see it happening. I can also see it being the complete opposite. And again, it's going to depend very much on characters and how they handle it. I really am tired of the will they, won't they, they're together, they're not together, whatever relationship drama. Give me the drama of two people who are in a relationship and trying to work things out.
Right.
Because just getting together isn't the end of the relationship. You're still working with personality clashes. And, well, I'm worried about him when he's on the job. Well, I'm worried about her because she has no combat training. That doesn't change when you fall in love and decide you're going to be together.
Yeah.
It sometimes exacerbates the situation. So give me that drama where they're trying to actually work things out. It's not someone's cheating. It's not I may be in love with someone else. It's not whatever. It's we're in a relationship, but this is obviously not perfect. Let's work on it.
Right.
And I want to see that, but I think we're going to reach that point where it's not worth fighting for him. maybe I'm not in
I
love
don't
with this
know.
person. That's how I see it going. I don't know if it's the best move. Also, where's his kid?
Time will tell.
We're gonna see this kid next season. I'm calling it right now.
All right.
Our own little Damian Wayne.
I also think there's another kid.
Maybe.
Really?
There's 2 more years of flashbacks to happen. There's definitely a second kid.
So
if
some
you
wild
want
oats.
to not whitewash Connor Hawk, then you rely on those flashbacks for another kid.
Yes.
Yeah.
Also,
You're done.
that's a good way.
Moving on.
That's a good way to destroy a relationship. It's like, oh, by the way, I have a kid.
Oh, okay.
Well, okay.
I thought it just meant kids in general. I was like, wow, we're getting into some
someone's all
deep
pessimistic
stuff
tonight.
here. Wow.
Yeah, right?
Well, but Oliver may not know that he has any of these kids.
Well, he doesn't.
He sure doesn't know about the one in Central City, but
Right.
he may not know if any other one-night stands have led to any other. It could be, I'm your kid. Whoa, what?
They all become little archers.
Oh my God, that'd be
That
amazing.
48% is coming after me on the internet right now.
Meh.
Are they?
It's already happening.
Okay, chat roll, cool your jets. It's gonna be fine. We have 5 months to fight about this, so be civil for now.
Yes.
Break out the sticks later. Like I said, fandom's on hiatus, go insane.
Yeah.
I can see Diggle and Speedy rocking out as a vigilante corps, but
Yes.
just either something's happening that will be revealed in flashback from Oliver's time in Coast City that is coming up, and so his experience simply requires him to come back, or they're actually starting to rebuild the city into the kind of Star City that Ray had proposed, because as it turns out, after an earthquake and then another kind of earthquake and then a plague, a lot of people have been leaving or abandoning the city, so they need someone. Maybe now is the time that Oliver Queen needs to save the city instead of Green Arrow, and that'll be what brings him back. So I can see easily something like that. I can still see possibility, like at least after the mid-season finale of next season, Oliver encountering a test pilot in Coast City who talks about strange lights in the sky or something.
Backdoor spinoff number 2. I would love to see Thea and Diggle. I think you're absolutely correct.
And maybe he's guardian or something.
She needs a mentor that doesn't have an ulterior motive.
Yeah.
She hasn't had any of those.
Yeah, I'm afraid for his family. I'm going to say right now, I'm afraid for that kid in Harbinger.
Killing a kid is crossing the moral event horizon for any show.
Yeah. Right.
I think there will be danger in some capacity, but killing a child that small, that's...
Yeah. A little too far.
Tari?
I'm prediction out. I'm
We've kind of been doing predictions all through the episode.
So I'm just going to say I'm looking forward to the next season. Thank you guys for everything that you've done, all the comments and all the ratings, everything. That's it. I predict that you're going to continue to be awesome and that you're going to keep up with us in the next 5 months.
I agree with those predictions.
That's a good prediction.
I like that.
Yeah.
Honestly, you guys have pretty much covered whatever it is I'd want to talk about. At this point, it's an open book. It's a blank slate. It could be anything. I'm sure Damian Darhk will be back in some capacity. They laid that one on a little too thick for him not to be.
Right.
He'll be a bad next year.
And then, obviously, Amanda Waller is not dead, but we don't know what she's up to.
Yeah.
General Shreve sure is, so never mind for that one.
Yep.
And whatever happens on The Flash will probably play into this in some capacity. So it's a whole lot of maybes and what-ifs.
Awesome.
Anyway, Alan, thank you so much for coming on again.
No problem. You can find me on Twitter at Sizzler Kistler, Kistler.
Steve, thank you for filling in.
Thank you so much for having me. Season premiere, season finale, bookended nicely. You can find me at Steve Kaufman. That's KAUFMANN. I do a lot of shows here on AfterBuzz, and I tweet about them regularly.
Tari, thank you for being you.
I do my best. As you know, I'm
You
Tauri
succeed.
J. Miller. Thanks again for joining us this season. You can find me on Twitter at TariJ. It's TaurijAY. Remember to tweet at me. I love you.
And I'm Katie Cullen, and I'm just thankful to be here. You can find me on Twitter, Tumblr, and Instagram at KiaXet. That's KIAXET. I'm also on Snapchat at Kia Prime, and I am on the Transformers Robots in Disguise after show on Sundays. Thank you guys so much for watching Arrow, for watching our show, for sticking with us all season, and we will see you in 5 months.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.